Alright, what's going on everyone? Supreme Common here. So let's actually go over to alterations. The build house, but I said build try, but try burning them over here, and then obviously we have the Justice Knight over here. So just so these two units are actually for the build for this series. So in terms of the tag wise, they could go for a little bit more extreme, like you can see for the Justice Knight. They gave it like that for computers, so that kind of not really ruins it, but obviously with computer you can do your different. I'm pretty sure people are able to build out some sort of good tags with that guy over there. But let's start up with the try burning over here. So in terms of the overall stat, not just mainly looking at the overall like the offensive stat, you are looking pretty good. I think the head is pretty like generic in terms of the overall stats over here. This guy, it would have been great if they could have give this guy a mobile fighter tag, but unfortunately, it just wouldn't work out that way. So, it's really unfortunate. Overall stat is not too bad, coming in at in terms of melee attack, does reach that 4K mark over here, so that is gonna be good. In terms of the overall portrait over here, so this one is gonna be more suitable for players who have been working on attack high mobility. I think this one will be a good option for, say, if you guys are needing some sort of that. But if you guys are someone who's not building, let's say, high mobility type, I would say this one is highly skippable. There's really no need to go around and always change up what kind of typing you guys are running. I feel like you guys can just wait until that one specific tag is getting buffed it, and then I guess that's a pretty much a good way to kind of invest into it. Like I always gonna be saying, summon for something you like. Don't summon for something just purely for the overall stat, because that is not gonna be, it's not gonna be like good overall, right? Because you are constantly chasing new parts every week, because these parts, or in terms of stat, they always fluctuate every other week. So there's really no real saying I'm like, all right, which one is the good best part of the bunch, right? It's more of like how you use part and how you can make it good, right? In synergy with other different parts. So this one is going to work really well with high mobility build over here, like close combat, pro attack, high mobility. This one is going to be excellent in that build. Double melee tag over here, gonna be good, but it doesn't want you to use physical attack as well. So you guys do pack a lot of like physical E skill already, this one will be good as well. So overall, is the head something you need to alterate? I will not say so. We've been having, I would say, a little bit more generic in a way. This one is just being just a little bit too type specific. If this was maybe close combat, I mean, it'll be better, just because close combat is something everyone will run like majority of the time. But if you guys don't have any better option, this one can be a good one, but not necessarily needed, right? All right, moving on to the chest over here. The chest is yeah, the chest is amazing. Just looking across the board, you have extremely high armor over here. So this one is just good. Like this one kind of, I think this is by far the highest. I think this is the highest armor stat across the melee side of the chest over here. This one actually even beats our build project, the Sawsam, by 1,000 or so, right? Okay, let me see if I can find it down here. Sawsam, where you at? Right here. I didn't even beat it. Yeah, just roughly about like around 800, 900 ish over here. But in terms of the stat, this one is gonna take the cake here. Just keep that in mind. Yeah, build project is not always like the best thing in the world. It's more of like a trophy but for me, how I see it. In terms of chess, it's good. Like just overall good. You are gonna be looking at number 3 in terms of overall torso. I think what is coming in at rank 1 and 2. It was about, I believe, it was the straight to red and then the salsa. Those are the two. I think this one. I think Sawsam will still take. Let me see what Sawsam. I mean, Sawsam is a bit of project, so I don't think anyone that many people will go for it, regardless. But Sawsam was a, let's see, just give me a good refresher here. Sawsam, yeah, Sawsam is gonna be better because it's not one of the trait is not specific to that back part. In terms of the straight turn red, I have it here somewhere here. A straight turn red, yeah, this one is type really specific as well. You need close combat and back part only. So, you guys, I'm fine with using back part because back part is probably where I deal the most damage anyways in terms of what I'm packing. Maybe not for everyone, right? So this one is it's questionable in some scenario, but it is a double EXQ buffing regardless, so it is gonna be beneficial. If you guys don't take a look at the portrait, just look at overall stats and what you can do. This one will be very suitable in a arena. What is it? The armor mode arena with that 8K armor. This is needed per se. 6K defense, that will be good for your what is it? Melee defense arena. So this one is serviceable. Double E skill buffing up here. Back part is questionable depending on what you guys are running personally. Infighter, that's fine. I'm pretty sure a lot of people do run infighter anyway. So I'm good. This overall good. Portrait, in terms of the tag, you are not looking too bad. For that high mobility build over there. Close combat, high mobility. Just work things out with like pro tag, and then you're good to go. Alright, now let's talk about some EX skill over here. Before we talk about the EX skills and all that, the overall stat of this guy, the armor for this armor is extremely high as well, but I don't think this one is the highest of the bunch, but it's up there in terms of the armor rankings and all that. But look at the stats. This guy is almost coming in at 12k. Yeah, we are getting up there, man. 12k arms out here, wow. But they are gonna give you a little bit of a handicap by equipping this with EX skill over here. But I'm pretty sure you can always do your regular 1-to-1 just skill sub slot options. But like I'm gonna tell you guys, the 1-to-100 is only good for the parameter boosting. In terms of portrait, you're not really packing the most impressive portrait because there's always gonna be one boosting, but the other one is not. It's gonna be more of like more fitting for different types of scenario. So it's gonna work anyways. You are getting ridiculous stat over here, but like I'm always gonna say, pick a arm that has a portrait, right? But this EX skill is gonna be this is more of like a AoE. So this one is gonna slam your fist on your ground and launch a pillar of fire at your enemy. Raise your attack or melee attack by 19%. So this one is only to yourself. It's not gonna benefit your allies. So keep that in mind. In terms of how viable you want this to be. So this one when you launch it, you're not locking frames, so you can get knocked out. So if you get hit by like a bazooka round, you're out of the animation. This is completely different than what you can see from, let's say, the infamous double sky higher than the sky backpack. What is it? The beam zombie or whatever that was. So that one is the I feel, or what people like to call I feel, is like your lock and frame. So you are immune to getting hit, but this one you are. But this one is gonna be a good AoE range. So how does actually work? If you can get that one, let's say you have a bunch of enemy in front of you, and you can get that one enemy, the one that's very close to you, you are gonna be able to get your proximity, enemy as well. But let's say you want to say you want to launch it at a long range. In some I would say I tested it myself. It doesn't have the best of the range. Not the range is not as good as the double sky backpack. That's what I'm gonna tell you. I will obviously do a EXQ showcase. Just run it through different types of events. Obviously with those multi missions. With moving targets, just to give you guys a good view of how this EXQ actually works. So but this is good. This one is awakening EXQ, so you can pair that along well with really good a buffer portrait. So they're gonna work hand in hand real nice. So you can do big damage, right? I think on my offensive melee build, I was able to do just this guy alone, portrait EXQ level 1. I was able to rack up to 1.3 million. So just from the armor here. So not bad. If you guys do have it, definitely trade it. But just keep in mind that you will get knocked out if you are surrounded with enemy that has some good projectile. What is it? hitting at you and all that, especially bazooka rounds, they will knock you back. So just get that in mind. All right, so the leg over here, this is another EX skill. I'm not in terms of leg EX skill, it's not the most, you know, I would say not well done. I would say, but besides the EX skill, let's take a look at the board over here in terms of the parameter, 7K leg over here. So another well done part that boosts, highly boosts, armor armor piece over here. So in terms of the overall stat, this is gonna come in at rank number 2 in terms of the melee over here. But unfortunately, it is gonna be equipped with the EX skills. So you want this to be a main build. You are gonna have to subslot something to get some part rate regardless. In terms of the leg EX skill over here, this is also gonna raise your melee attack up by 90%. So this one is not your awakening. So you can a combo you can start out with let's say I would say activate your limit breaker, and then use your the arm E skill first because that is awakening. So you want to stack some attack buffs, sorry. So activate first, activate this, and then finally activate the backpack EX skill. So let's say if you have this overall pack, right? This every EX skill this guy contains. This one I believe it just do like a what is it? Use the Jagan House style to make a tornado with a Senpatasumaki Geki and unleash a so Giria. Man, I'm butchering this. Sorry. Yeah, so this is like a 2 combo over here. It's more like that. You guys have watched the show. You guys obviously know how this actually looks like. It's not the it's not like the best animated in the game. So I'm just gonna give you guys that. So I mean overall it's pretty nice. I'll definitely test it out. In probably in tomorrow's video I'll do the EXQ showcase of this. It's all pretty good, but I like the arm better. The arm is good. Alright, so nothing really much to talk about in terms of overall stat, just purely good. Defensive wise, top notch again. So this one will be an excellent selection for that, melee defense arena whenever that comes back. And then for the armor mode, I mean like I keep saying it, I'm pretty sure we are gonna get that someday soon. So just something to keep in mind if you guys are everyone running into that arena and like, oh, what part has good portrait, what part has good armor. This one is going to be it over here. In terms of tag, I forgot to go over it. It's going to be close combat mobile mobile fighter. Whoa, not mobile fighter, pro tag, excuse me. Yeah, close combat mobile pro tag, guys, I'm so sorry. All right, yeah, so it's good. Just your really generic traits for your melee build. It is gonna in terms of subslot wise, you are gonna find numerous in terms of the big scale, so it's gonna be good. All right, so we have another part that boosts that boasts extremely high armor over here, coming in at 7K. So if the overall stat in terms of like your melee department is looking pretty good, so you're gonna reach that 5K with the conversion gear plus that melee attack. Melee attack coming in at 3, like the raw stat of 3000 is going to be good, and then you pair that up with extremely high defense, so you are going to be looking pretty good. I'm not going to go over again. Going to be good for those 2 arena most specifically. So this one is going to be unwinding spirit over here. So this one, like I said, this one, if you guys have watched the Tri Fighter episode 20, when he was facing up the Gundam, you guys will love that scene. I would say in game it went a little bit too fast for me, like in my opinion. Yeah, but as overall, it's gonna be a good animated E skill just in game, right? In terms of how it's executed, perfectly fine. But I kind of wish they could have give us like I don't know, if you are using the actual full suit, kind of activate like the burning burst, like from the chest, give it like a little glow, like how you would in the anime. I think that will kind of make the scene a lot more better. But obviously when people are using it EXQ in this game, it's not going to be on the actual full set unit, so it's going to be a little bit understandable. But let's just say, right, you are using it on the actual full set build. I mean, they could have give us a little bit of that gesture, right? But it's whatever. So in terms of the effects of this one, it is going to raise your speed by 20%. Also gonna raise your melee attack by 49%, so that's gonna be good. Keep this in mind. This is not an awakening EX skill, so you're not gonna reset your buffing. So what it means is like whenever you use an awakening EXQ, it overwrite whatever buffs you're using. So let's say um the arm, right? The arm of the build, the try burning is the awakening. So if you use another awakening like a transcend ray, whatever, it's gonna replace that 19% attack buffing with a 49 multiplier, right? So, so these one are good. I do kind of like EXQ that are not the awakening type. So this one is gonna be good. Not much to talk about from here. Just overall pretty good set, right? Good tech as well, close combat and pro tech. But is this something you need or must have? I would tell you guys no. As simple as that. Unless you guys are a big fan of like the try burning Gundam over here. I would say this one is I would say it's one to skip for sure. Unless you guys are into the nitty gritty of like, oh, I need specific part that gives me high armors, right? I mean, that's gonna be a hard choice over here, right? There's so many other parts that boast high armor already, but if you guys specifically want this one, I mean, it is up to you guys. I would say second year anniversary banner should be dropping sometime soon, and I would say at the latest, at the least, in 2 weeks in advance. So I mean, if you guys want to save up some horrors, this has got to be it, right? All right, so let's talk about the Justice Knight Gundam over here. Some Kazumi from re-rise of the with the big divers over here. So this one is his first gen of it. I mistaken this from the Aegis Knight, so my bad on that. On the actual overview, like probably like last week, I thought this was like the final version of it, but actually this is the pre-sequel, right? So Justice Knight, it's gonna suffer a lot in terms of the portrait word tag UI because this is gonna be in a mobile. They are in a virtual world, so they are gonna be able to give it that for computer, which they did. Kind of predicted that somehow. But all right, let's take a look at the overall build of this guy over here. So in just the overall stat, I will not say this is anything impressive, but the portrait I think is where it's gonna make up just a little bit. But do keep this in mind because this is not a main protagonist of the series, so it's not gonna receive pro tag for a melee build, which is gonna hurt by a landslide. So what they can compensate at the least is gonna throw in like a Gundam type. This one is not a high mobility mode or a unit, so they can't throw that in. So the best we are going to be looking at is going to be close combat and Gundam type. Like I said, Gundam type is not a official word tag you want to be used in terms of giving a melee offense instead. But I have seen people with builds that do use Gundam type just because I don't know whatever reason they do. It's not like there's no penalty for using it, but you guys are just gonna be losing out some melee attacking stats. But it's like in general, it's gonna be fine. I feel like if you guys are gonna be using Gundam type, it's gonna just make you guys just make your build a lot more easier to access in terms of what kind of different parts. If you guys are not really into the overall meta of like, all right, let me get the strongest part. I feel like just using Gundam type, close combat, and some sort of different tag will just be viable, right? So since that is not going to be something too impressive, so let's take a look at the portrait and see what we are working with over here. So this is going to be an excellent set of portrait over here because you are going to be getting an output initial EXQ charge boost by 20%. If this is something you guys need for a build in any of the parts that is not getting this one will be a good pickup for sure. You're also going to be boosting melee power boosted when you are using close combat, so that is a the generic tag you are going to be activating for sure. So this one will be good if you guys don't have ICD over here, but if you guys have at least, let's say, I don't know, give or take like 12% at least, I think you guys don't need it. I think just that, like, if you guys are able to max it up to 20%, whatever part you guys are using, this one can be a good skip, right? We would I would suggest going for double boosting, right, instead of using another ICD. But I mean, if you guys are going into some contents where you want to, let's say like last week we had the hash multi missions. Let's say you're gonna hop in and just quickly demolish it. Yeah, you can get. I would say getting up to 25 or 26 percentage boosting. That will require two parts, obviously. that will allow you to immediately execute your custom EXE right at the bat. So it's only if you want to do that, right? But other than that, I would say just one of these is just good enough, right? All right, moving on to the chest over here. So they're gonna give you another one of those EX skill, that is the ICWS over here. So they are, what was the last one that has this? I believe it was the Destiny Impulse, right? I think everything remains the same. A Pierce and B power over here. So I will not alterate this one because it's only a B power. I think there's some strong ones out there already. But this one is just probably a skip for alteration. In terms of the overall stat, you're not really. It's more of like a really balance out here. So it's not gonna really um, lean towards any of the builds per se. So this one is something I'll definitely skip because it's not the chest is nothing too impressive. Close combat and Gundam type. So yeah, this one not really much to say about. But the overall of this, just the status a little bit too low in and what we have seen come out in recent days, right, or recent weeks. So the chest is gonna be something you wanna skip for sure. All right, so moving on to the armor we here. Overall stat is gonna be a little bit of a low balling it. 11K is not low balling it, but we do have so much better choices out there already. Unfortunately, like I said, for a melee build, um, Gundam type is not the best, but you guys can I seen you guys work things out, so I have 100% confidence if you guys do pick up this one. You can work things out with Gundam type, just a little bit. Let's say a 5%, decrease in your overall stat. As the higher you go, you definitely see it, but there's nothing really you can do with this part over here unless they sub slide with 1 to 100 skill. This one you can actually do because this one, I would say this one is going to be better to do that because you do have a part tray, so you don't have to worry about when you sub slide a 1 to 100 scale and not getting a good part tray, right? In terms of overall part tray of this guy, yeah, this one is good, just straight up good. Double EXQ buffing and not really restricting to any type, so that is good. That's when you use close combat, which is fine. Weapon reload is gonna decrease by 10%. For melee build, I would say that it's gonna hurt. Let's say you are someone who is trying to do like a 100%, 100%, cooldown builds. Trying to use your EXQ a second afterwards. This one is gonna hurt it. Because it's gonna lower your, just reload by 10%, right? So you're actually gonna need 110. This for example, right? But most likely, if you guys are running a full 100% CD build, you will not even use this portrait. Just running out there. But this one is good. Like, if you guys have the arm, this is something you can alter as well, just because of the double EXQ buffing up here, a 9 restriction as well. So this one is good. This one is good. Alright, moving on to the leg over here, we do have our first EX skill, our second EX skill of this unit over here. In terms of the EX skill of this guy over here, this is going to do like a pretty long projectile melee swipe from your leg, so it's actually pretty good. I don't know if it actually does AoE because in the actual Twitter, like on their video, it was only executing on one enemy, so I don't actually have it, so I can't really test it on myself. So if any of you guys do have the leg EX skill for the Justice Knight over here, do let me know. Can you hit multiple enemy at once? If it does, this leg EXQ will be highly valued just because of what you can do. In terms of that, it's going to be able to lower your enemy gunpla physical resistance by 29%. So in that regards, you are going to be able to do just a little bit, just a sliver of damage towards your enemy. So not too bad. But the problem over here's where we're going to see some problem with the vortex over here. You're gonna start seeing for computer, so this is something you're gonna have to get rid of by by any means over here, unless you want to use this on your main build. But otherwise, if you are gonna be using on a part tray, not part tray EXQ, you will not need to do that. Overall status coming at 5K, so it's gonna be pretty good. So if you guys do want this as a main slot, yeah, so totally fine. Just subslot something to get rid of the for computer over here. So not too bad overall. Like just the stat compared to the build burning is gonna build burning, try burning is just gonna be a little bit less, just in general. Alright, moving on to the backpack over here, we do have a portrait, so that is excellent. Overall stat, you are not going to replace anything within the top rankers, so that's a little bit unfortunate. Tag wise, you're going to be looking at from computer again, so not the best thing in the world. In terms of the EX skill or portrait over here, this is excellent as well. So this one does want you to use as S attribute. If any of you guys are running any S attribute and need some buffing, this one might be a big. If you guys are not running that, I feel like this one can be a highly skippable part to just to get or even alterate. Close range weapon EX skill boost by 35%. So I don't know. I'm pretty sure this is. I can't not really tell you guys like how this one actually works. I'm pretty sure this is anything of like close proximity, like close EX skill, close range EX skill that's more projectile maybe. I don't know. This one is just how they kind of word it. I would just kind of assume it's just any melee EX skill, but I could be wrong, right? This might apply to range EX skill that are close range there as well. But how they're wording it, I want to say assume this is just more for like the melee side or just any melee EX skill. But nonetheless, this is a pretty good portrait because we don't really see too many back part having a portrait, so this one is going to be a good grab nonetheless. Regardless if you can, obviously you have to use on a T build or a S attribute build, but other than that, this one is a pretty good one to grab. Alright, moving on to Saber over here. I think like the weaponry in terms of the portrait, I think that's where they kind of let down, over here. You're gonna get a crit rate up by 30%, so not good already. So Outfighter boost by 30%. You guys are using an Outfighter job. Melee power boost by 35%, so that is gonna be good. But I would say just because of the first portrait, I'm not gonna alterate it if I do have it. Crit rate in this game just does not do anything. So I mean, it's not that it's not gonna do anything, but it's not needed for say, right? So this one is a highly skippable part. Overall stat is not the highest anyway, so this one I'll just skip it overall. All right, so this one is your one of your elite EX skill over here. So this one is gonna be another dashing EX skill. It is gonna offer you A pierce and B plus power, so it's gonna break through overall enemy defense resistance and all that good stuff. So I don't actually have it, like I said again. So in terms of like what I saw on Twitter, it's gonna be like a dashing EX skill. Just I think it was just like single hit if I'm not mistaken. Oh, obviously link the actual Twitter EX skill video below. You guys should check it out yourself. But this one is overall should be good. Just because of the overall split you guys can get. A pierce and B plus is a pretty good combo overall. Not bad. So this one I'll say is more for like a EX skill for your skin. I don't think you want to run this on like your main skin or even sub slotting. What is the tag on this one? Yeah, close combat and Gundam type, unfortunate, but it is really what it is for you. The Justice Knight over here. Alright, let's see what the machine gun can pack for us over here. So, alright, so Gundam type job gauge increased by 17%. So this allows you to, use your job gauge just a smidge more faster in like arena, which is a highly competitive mode. Every second counts in that mode. So if you are able to get up your job gauge and execute your EX, oh man, you are gonna do a big damage, right? But the unfortunate part, you are gonna be losing out a potential EX skill buffing or melee or shooting buffing. So you are, I would say overall gonna do less damage, even though you are gonna be. I mean, it kind of outweighs it because the limit break is does have a higher percentage multiplier. So I mean, regardless, you are gonna be benefiting from that limit breaker anyways. But keep that in mind. This is gonna be offering to Gundam type only. Let's say your melee build is not running a, let's say what is it, Gundam type, you're not gonna get that buff. But this one you can actually use this on a shot build, no problem. Just because the second portrait is not specified to, let's say, melee, right? This one is EX skill in general, so you can use this in a shot build, no problem, to be honest. If that is what you want. If you are going to use this in a shot build, what you're going to have to do is you are going to have to replace close combat with like a shooter tag, obviously. But the second problem is you're not going to run this in your shot build because of how low the shot attack is over here. that is gonna be a problem, right? So just in general, you can use it in shooter build, but you won't, just because of the low stat over here. But overall, it's okay. I would say the machine gun over here, but not something you need to alterate right off the bat, right? So that's that over here. Right, so the last thing we need to go over is going to be shield. So this is going to be another throw shield. We have two good ones already in terms of standard and event. We have the guy from last week that is excellent. This one is actually does the same thing, but for Gundam limited parts, there's really no way to get this up to level 10 like you would have for like the guy shield. So if you do have it, I mean, you can alterate it for the overall stat this guy provides, but this one is not going to give you the most amount of damage just at level 1, right? So that is just that. In terms of overall stat, you are looking pretty decent. I think overall shield wise, this is just a pretty generic stats over here, so not anything too impressive. But in terms of the throw shield, we have better representation already in terms of like the Fusion shield. We have the gas shield from last week, so this one is not going to be the top tier, obviously at trade level 1. But I'm pretty sure once you get it up to level 10, you should offer you some pretty good damage. But that is pretty much it for the Justice Knight over here. I think the only one to really focus on is going to be the arm. Maybe the backpack if you guys are lacking some backpack part traits. Other than that, I think the other part are questionable in some way, just because the overall stat is kind of low, and then the portrait is not in terms of the word tech is not really doing it for me in terms of like a melee build. But this is just my overall opinion. If you guys are using a melee build that uses Gundam type, by all means go for it. But that being said, this is gonna be it for this review over here. I'll catch you guys out on the next one.